Hi, and welcome to Emerald Creations. Today we're going to be dyeing lacrosse heads. So I have a couple heads here that just all of my white heads that I own. So I decided that I'd dye them, just to make things a little bit more interesting. Now, before we get started, I should explain these are not popular lacrosse heads. This one is called an STX Octane. These aren't popular heads, they're heads that I got for cheap that I figured I could use. I'm not really into spending a lot of money on a head because I just don't see the point in it if I could use a head like this and it works perfectly well for me. So this one is called, it's just actually doesn't have a name, it's just a Brian head. I like the face shape on it, I like the offset, so I figured I could use it for a depot. This one is called the Warrior Outlaw, and I thought I could use it for like an LSM type head. So what I have here is I have RIT dye, which I will be using to dye the heads. I have green, black, yellow. So this one's actually not called green, it's called emerald, but that's alright, it looks green. And this one is more of a gold than a yellow, it's called daffodil yellow. And so I figured I'd like the black and gold together, so let's see what we can do for that. I'm planning on doing a fade on this one, so kind of like a yellow to black, and then maybe do some more black around the throat just to kind of make it look cleaner. And on this one, I'm going to try to get fancy. I'm going to do the scales. So I'm going to do dye it green, put the scales on, and then dye it black so you can see the green scales afterwards. And then this one I might do something funny looking with the green and the yellow because I don't really want to have a bunch of the same looking heads, I'd like them all to be different. So first things first, these are heads that I've played with before and they're all scratched up, they're pretty dirty. So what I want to do is use some sandpaper, or actually these sand blocks that I have, and just kind of smooth everything out on them. So I'm going to do that. I want to try to get all the dirt off, all the glue, and try to get these scratches out so that the dye sets more evenly, doesn't look all dirty looking. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so it's far from perfect, but I got most of the gunk off. There's still some gunk on the inside, but this is the one that I care least about. It's the weird face shape one, the Sticks Octane, and I'm kind of going to do a weird dye on it, kind of experimental. So I don't care too much about the little smudges that are on the inside, but what I am going to do is move over it with a finer piece of sandpaper block because I want to make sure that those scratches that I made with the rough sandpaper don't show up later. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for both of the other heads, and I'll be right back. Time to do the first coat of yellow and green on these two, and then I guess I'll kind of play around with what I want to do for this one. Let's do it. Okay, so here's what I have going on. I have these two big containers here. They're filled with water high enough that a lacrosse head will sit in them and be completely submerged, and I'm going to bring them to boiling. And then I'll let it sit for just a minute so it stops boiling, so it's still hot. And then I'll put the dye in and put the heads in. I'm also going to attempt to dye this mesh here. It's really old, dirty mesh, but I'm going to try it anyway. I'm going to dye it with the RIT dye and see if that works out. I'm just kind of going to dip it in the water once I have it all done. And maybe I'll try to do a stripe or something. I haven't really decided that yet. Okay, so I'm going to put half a bottle of each. Just to start. I'm not sure how much I'll actually need, but I'm going to start with half a bottle just to see how it goes. That feels like about half the dye. I'm going to start with a metal utensil. Don't want to use plastic just in case it'll dye it. And now I'm going to drop the first head. Now I'm going to put half of the green. Okay, so I ended up putting in the rest of the bottles because it didn't look like it was working very well, and a video that I'd watched on it had people using an entire bottle, so I decided I would try that, and it seems to be working. I also stuck some mesh in here. I just finished some green mesh that I'll show you in a second, but it's starting to dye. It's definitely looking yellow. And then over here, this green is looking quite blue, so I even put a little bit extra yellow in it, and it's still looking pretty blue. I don't know how it'll look for you guys on the camera, but to me, it's a little bluer green than I thought. Okay, so I just pulled them out. They're looking pretty good. I think the yellow came out nice. The green came out a little bit differently than I suspected, but I think it looks pretty cool. I'm gonna turn this blower on. And so, like I said, I did use all of the bottle for both of them because the half wasn't working very well. These were probably in the water for about 20-30 minutes. But I recommend you just keep checking it to make sure you get the color you want. You don't want to leave it for just a set time and then guess that that's going to be what it is. I also dyed some mesh. Came out kind of weird. This is soft mesh, no wax on it whatsoever. I tried to dye already waxed mesh, and I'll show you what that's looking like. It does not take the color whatsoever. So don't try to dye already waxed mesh. Moral of that story. What I'm doing for this one is I'm kind of just doing this motion back and forth like this so it doesn't get a direct line, and then I'm going to fade it with the yellow. So I'm going to have a green top and a yellow bottom at the end, hopefully, if it works out. If all goes well. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I get the color that I feel looks nice, and then I'm going to do the same thing into the yellow. Okay, so I finished the first dye. We have the yellow one. Came out pretty yellow. I was expecting it to come out a little bit more gold, but this will work perfectly fine. We have the green one, which, like I was saying, came out bluer than I thought and darker than I thought, but I actually like the color a lot, and I think it'll make the scales look kind of unique because most people do the scales with like a neon green color, and this is definitely not neon green. It's almost like I mean, it really does look emerald. Like the bottle said emerald. It looks emerald. It looks emerald green, and I like it a lot. And then finally I have this one. Now this one is a head that I really don't like to use to play with, but it was a white head and I wanted to play with the dyes, so I decided I would do a green to yellow fade, and I think it looks cool. It's not ideal. It's not like green to yellow isn't really a thing for me. Like green's my favorite color. Black and gold is for the college I'm going to. So green and yellow doesn't really have any significance, but it looks neat. It looks neat. It's kind of a cool scheme. It's an old head. It's a pretty crappy head with a weird color scheme, but it'll work. So I also just threw the mesh in there, and so this will look pretty cool when it's on this. When I do the black dye, I'll probably put a stripe down the middle here. See how that works out? Hoping it works out well, because I'd really like to do it for the yellow mesh. And I previously said that the yellow mesh didn't dye. It actually did dye. At first I thought it only dyed this part that wasn't dirty, but this part that was dirty did dye eventually. I stuck it back in there and left it there for a while, and it did dye. So hopefully that black stripe will come out. So when I string the black and yellow head on the black and yellow mesh and put black shooting strings, it'll all look really cool. So now I'm going to get some electrical tape, and I'm going to start on the scales and the letters for the yellow.